Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and I am super excited today to be coming to you guys with a special guest. I know you guys are probably getting sick of hearing me just talk all the time, so I figured I better get someone with a lot of industry knowledge and who has been very successful in the industry and wanted them to share their tips with you. So today, I have Sarah Stengel with me. She currently works in biologics at Wright Medical. She first started off her career at Boston Scientific in the urology space and has been in the industry for the last 3 years. The reason I wanted to bring Sarah in is she has been a huge help during this whole process. She was one of the resources I would reach out to when I was trying to break in over the last 6 months, and she was the person who actually spent time, talked with me, gave me great tips, and also has a lot of success of not just helping me break in, but helping a lot of other people. We were talking around 20, probably, around 20 people that she's helped her and her fiance help get into the industry right now, and they have a business going with it. So I wanted to bring her on and just kind of talk with her. So we will just get going with everything. So Sarah, great to have you.
Thanks, Jacob.
All right, so Sarah, let's just start it. How'd you break in? How'd you break into medical device sales?
Oh gosh, it was a long road. So it took me about 6 months. I was lucky enough to be employed. So I wasn't in any rush, right? It wasn't like I was unemployed and I'm trying to break in. I have no paycheck coming in. So that was a huge stress reliever. But really, I think things have kind of changed a little bit. So when I was trying to break in, I didn't have much luck on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. You would follow up with people. Nobody wanted to take the time to talk with me, make mutual connections or anything like that. Yeah. So really, I just hit hard on medreps.com. It does cost money, but really, you think about potentially what you're going to be making after you break in, and then, it doesn't really matter as much, spending $20-$30 for a
very small investment for what you could make. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I reached out to recruiters. I didn't have sales experience before I broke in. So, I heard it all. You're never going to break in. Go get B2B sales. Yep. Even mutual connections, right? My dad would introduce me to people. Scott had been in the industry for a while. He would introduce me to people.
Yep.
All the same thing. They're either not hiring or go get sales experience. I'm naturally very competitive.
Yep.
And I don't like to waste time. So I kind of just told them to, well, I didn't say it, but in my head, right? Yep. I'm like, go pound sand, watch what I'm going to do,
exactly,
right?
Yep.
So I finally found a recruiter actually it was the Boston Scientific job posting. This external recruiter had posted for it, and he did not get back to me right away, right? I had to really follow up with him, and honestly, I got him on the phone for 10 minutes. And that's where I kind of changed his mind.
Love it.
And he put me through an initial interview, and that was probably the toughest interview, right? Because, these recruiters, they're getting paid.
It's a livelihood.
Off of your success, yep. Right? So, be ready for these recruiters to grill you.
Yep.
If you can't get through a recruiter, or if you can't convince a recruiter to take you on as a potential client, no offense, you're probably not going to have much luck. If you let, people tell you don't have what it takes or you don't have the experience. We hear that every day,
yep.
Right? So, medreps.com was my thing.
Love it.
And then also I was really blessed to have mentors throughout the interview process. Awesome. My recruiter took the time. I spent, an hour on the phone with him prepping before every interview. Scott, my fiance, he's been in for a while. He mentored me. Mm-hmm. Then actually his brother, who's a VP of sales at a brewing company, he mentored me as well. So even though it's a different industry,
yeah. It's all sales.
It's all sales,
yep.
And they give you a different perspective. So at that point, I just had to, execute.
I love it. Yeah, and the thing I really want to just touch on there is, being told no. It's what we're told every single day, and like a lot of you guys, you might not have that B2B sales experience that they're looking for. Just like Sarah, I got told I'm never going to break in, or you're wasting your time. Go do ADP or the Centos. And again, nothing against those. I think they're great. Like for me, someone, and just like yourself, who's competitive, I'm not going to waste my time in my life at going to these sales jobs. And this was the one thing I've been told is there's a couple people who've done it and then they got horrible areas. And then you're supposed to be a rock star in it, and they couldn't be a rock star, and then it made it even harder to break in. So you wasted 2 years of your life.
Totally, and
now you're trying to get in.
I just thought of this. I'd even argue that. I mean, I'm not saying don't go to the B2B sales route.
Yeah.
But if you don't have sales experience on your resume, you now don't have to answer to numbers,
Bam.
right? So if you go and you work at ADP or you go work at Cintas, and you don't perform.
Yep.
Now you have to speak to why you weren't hitting your number. Like, that's an even bigger hurdle to overcome than not having sales experience, in my opinion.
No, 100%. And because the thing that comes really nice here is when you don't have that sales experience, that's the number one thing we can say. We're moldable. Totally. We don't have any bad habits. We've never not hit our numbers. You know, you guys have the best training, and we can be molded into the rep you want us to be.
Absolutely.
So I think, again, that's a huge point that I just want to make clear to everybody, that if you get told no once or twice and you're done, I don't think you should be in sales. I think that's just, maybe that's the truth, and maybe it hurts to hear right now, but I think a lot of people make this magic thing up in their head that they want to do something, maybe because they hear that it's awesome or that you can make a lot of money in it. But if it's really not a fit for your personality, you might as well cut it off early.
Right.
So I just wanted to touch on that. Going into second one, me being in my first month, I'm learning a lot. I've told these guys kind of what my first couple weeks are. What was your first experience in medical device? What was kind of your first year like here, and what would you share to people who, if they do get the job, what to kind of expect?
Oh gosh. So now that I'm, removed from the situation, I can be a lot more thankful and grateful for it.
Yep.
Being an associate, every associate role is different.
Yep.
Right? Orthopedics, you're going to be running trays. Learning an orthopedic surgical procedure takes a little bit more time than you or myself that's more in the uro gyno area. It's a different learning curve. Mm-hmm. But with that, I was given the opportunity to really enhance my sales experience a lot faster. I was, obviously you're doing the dirty work, which is to be expected. But I was also really blessed to have one of the top reps as my senior rep.
Yep.
So really all I did was I shut my mouth and I learned, right? Going to dinners, watching him be able to steer these conversations in the direction that he wanted to go. It was one of the most, to this day, he's probably one of the most, he's just such a good salesman that if you are lucky enough to have somebody like that you can learn from, obviously days are going to be hard, right? We had 3 times the territory that the average rep had. I had a number of 21-hour days, right? Mm-hmm. You get up, you go cover cases all day, you hop on a plane, you fly to Albuquerque to cover a case in the afternoon, then you fly back, and then you have a dinner. I mean, and it just repeats itself, right? But, just be you're going to get overwhelmed. Like we were just talking, you're going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. Yep. If you can keep it as simple as possible and just shut up and listen, it's going to take you so much further.
I love it. That's huge. And I want to just touch on that, like shutting up and just listening. I think that's huge. Everybody's so quick to talk, even myself. I like to talk, as you know. That's why she laughs. I don't shut up. But just being able to listen and talk, and even when you guys are calling people, when you're trying to learn from them right now, when I tell you guys to go network, that's one thing I've touched on. When you guys are reaching out, you're trying to learn, right? You're not in the industry yet. Call someone, you should have 2 or 3 good questions, shut up and just let them tell you everything and help build that relationship. But again, going in as an associate, you don't know anything yet.
Right.
So you're going to be the one learning. So even though you might have an opinion, your opinion's probably wrong. Or even if it's not, you haven't put in the time to be respected when you say this stuff.
Yeah, and I will say too, even if you are working under a senior rep, if the senior rep is good and they're trying to, challenge you and bring you up to speed, something as simple as getting a doctor's phone number. Yeah. Right? It's difficult to ask, right? With me, I was dealing with a lot of male surgeons. You're dealing with probably a lot of female surgeons right now. Being the opposite sex, and asking for their phone number is actually a really big hurdle to overcome, right? And my senior territory rep never gave me the phone numbers that I needed. He never gave me the emails or the contacts of the people that I needed. And as annoyed as I was when it was going on, he was doing it to make me learn.
Yep.
Right? And you're never going to have all the answers. 100%. You know, I remember it was quarter end. I was 2 months into the job, and my rep calls me. He's like, hey, I need you to go collect all the POs. I'm like, well, what's a PO? Like, I don't even know what a PO is. And he's like, just go figure it out. Here's the list of the hospitals. Here are the cases that we need. Go figure it out. So I'm driving around these different hospitals. Hey, who do I get the PO from? Right? And they're like, oh, well, do you have the rec number? I'm like, well, what's a rec number? Right? So it's like it's nice to have things handed to you and easy, but that's not going to do anything for you. You know, and so don't complain. Just figure it out, and you'll be better off.
Yeah, I love that. And then, like you said, it helps you prepare you to be your own rep, right? Like being an associate, you're helping out, but to be your own rep. Because even now, like I talk to reps that have been in the field for 10 years, and they're like, I see something new every day, and I have to figure it out. Yep. You know, so if you're not able to be resourceful, it's going to be really hard to be successful. So I love that he did that for you to help you be successful now.
At the time I didn't, but now I do.
Exactly. All right, so going into the next one, I wanted to touch really big on success of getting people hired. Like I said, Sarah helped me when I was trying to break in. There was hours, like I said, I don't shut up, so hours of phone calls of me just like asking questions, wondering what to do. And she went the extra mile every single time to help me with my resume, to help me with like interviews, getting ready for interviews, because she's been through it and I had not. Questions to prepare for, people to reach out to, just contacts like that. And so I wanted to talk on, you've gotten over 20 people hired, you and Scott, with your guys' business. And I just wanted to talk, how are you guys doing that? What are you telling them? Because a lot of them I know are the people without sales experience.
Right.
So really, for these listeners that are listening, if they're in the same shoe, what are you telling some of your clients to get these jobs? And what do you think is making them stand out compared to other people that might reach out to you but don't get the jobs?
Right. Yeah, so, it's, we've only been doing this since the pandemic first started, right? So it hasn't been that long. I said it before, every situation is different, right? How you, network, people will reach out, right? Well, I've reached out, I'm not getting any response. Okay, well, what are you saying? Are you following up, right? And a lot of individuals is just getting over that hurdle of, well, I don't want to be a bother to them, right? I don't want to pester them. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, guess what? If you're not comfortable doing that, you should probably think about a different career, because this is what you're going to be doing all day.
That's your job.
Right? And there's ways that you can do it, right? If you're very arrogant and you're reaching out to people, you're probably not going to get very far. So you can be a pest, but if you're genuine in your approach, that makes all the difference.
100%.
We go, there's a lot of communication between us and our clients.
Yep.
Prepping for interviews, going over their resume and their cover letter, their business plan when the time comes.
Yep.
Too, and a lot of times we're able to use our internal network and maybe make connections with people. But I'm not saying that, we're helping these people and they're getting hired right away.
No, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes a lot of coaching. And the biggest difference that I see in those individuals that have gotten the jobs and those that haven't is they actually put into action what we say, 100%. Right? It's not going in one ear and out the other. It's not people just being lazy and saying, hey, do you know this person, or do you know of somebody that's hiring? Can you connect me? It's like, well, we're happy to do that. You need to show us that you're, actually doing something 100%. On your own.
I love it. Yeah. And first off, I just want to say, like you said, you're not getting them hired right away. Like, the process is long either way. Right. You know what I mean? So, like, even if you go through one job interview, even if they're fast, it's a month and a half, and you just did a fast interview process in the medical device. So, going on to that, but I just love how what you said. It's the calls I've had. I've had 10 calls the last week, and I've said the exact same thing. I'm only going to help those who help themselves. And that's the biggest thing, is what people want to see. Like, there's more than enough people that are willing to help But why would I go and put my name out on the line, or you guys go put your name out on the line, and even go out to someone in your network to put your name out on the line for someone who's not showing that they want it, to be hungry. And I think that was an awesome point. And even right away when you talked about going in when you're having that first message, or you don't want to be a pest. I think if you go in with a genuine heart every single time, you can't lose. And that was just my approach, is like, I think most people will come in and they write a message that's I expect.
Right.
And I'll just be honest, if most people read an I expect message, you're not getting a response, because they're like, who do you think you are messaging me?
Yep.
Like, I don't even know who you are. You're not in the industry. But if you come and just say, hey, I'm eager to learn. I'm just trying to network. I would love to just hear your experience. I've seen you've had success in this field. Would just love to meet you or anything. You know, I tell this to everyone I talk to on the phone. People love to talk about themselves. If you can make it in that conversation or that message you send them to get them on the phone, I think that's what you should really be looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're building immediate rapport.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because if you get on the phone and you just ask somebody about them and they're talking for 15, 20 minutes about themselves, they hang up the phone, they're like, wow, I really like that person.
Exactly.
You didn't even do anything, right? You're just getting them to talk about themselves. It's the easiest way
100%.
to build rapport.
Yep.
And if you can't do that,
Yep.
I mean...
That's where we talk about the whole sales thing. And that's, like you said, the whole pesting thing. You know, when you are in this game, you're going to be talking to doctors, or you're going to be talking to chains, or to the people who do the finances or anything.
Right.
You're trying to get their business.
Yep. And
a lot of times they're going to be no. And you can't be a pest, but you do need to keep on happening and be in the right place at the right time, or be able to get that business to hit your quota.
Exactly. And I will say, because this has happened to both Scott and I a number of times, this is something that you did really well. You were always available. Mm-hmm. You were so organized with your spreadsheet, your follow-up, what you touched base on. I mean, that's what you need to do. We'll have scheduled calls mm-hmm. with individuals, and they don't answer the phone.
Yep.
You leave a voicemail, they don't get back to you until a couple of days later. It's like, I'm not getting anything from this, right? Once you're a client maybe, but just initial reaching out, I'm doing this just because I'm trying to give back and
100%.
Be a good person and treat people differently than I was treated when I was trying 100%. To break in.
Yep.
But if you don't have the respect for my time, and I'm not even a recruiter, right? If you do this with a recruiter or a manager, you are one and done.
Yeah, you're done.
There's no coming back.
And and even if you try to come back, you're done.
Exactly.
Because that you just showed your true colors, and that's how they're going to look at it. No matter what you say, you're not coming back.
Nope.
And you guys, I just say this. I learned this early, being a personal trainer, right? Like my time, we're in 30-minute time slots. If you showed up 5 minutes late, A, you're not respecting my time, but B, your 30-minute workout just went to a 25-minute workout.
Right.
Because I'm not running late or running over because of you.
Right.
So just like you said, I think the biggest thing that I've always hit on people is you got to respect someone's time. If you say 11 o'clock, every time I called someone, it was 11. It wasn't 11:01. It was 11 o'clock on the dot. If they say 11 o'clock and they call you at 11:01, that's okay. Right? You're trying to get their information right, but you don't be the late one to the party. So,
exactly.
And just on a side note, one of the jobs that I got offered, the reason I got the offer, they got on the Zoom meeting and I was on 15 minutes early, and the boss the manager got on and they're like, oh, what are you doing on already? And I was like, oh, I just wanted to be prepared and I wanted to be here. I'd rather be early than late. That right there, right when everybody got on, she made sure to tell everybody and they were super impressed. So just again, respecting people's times, it's going to say a lot about who you are and how serious you take the opportunity.
It's the little things in the interview process, especially if you don't have the sales experience. You have to do the little things correct and well.
Yep.
Otherwise...
because again, there's a million people who want to be here.
Right.
And they'll find that person that, oh, we can get that person. So I think amazing points right there, Sarah. I really want to go into just advice to breaking in. We touched a big part of it. If you can put a couple numbers, like here, this is what a checklist even or something. What would be like even 3 or 4 things that you say to someone that like, hey, if you're trying to break in, these are the things I would make sure that I do.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I would. Oh man. I'm trying to think of like the best way to sum this up.
Because there's so much. There's so much,
right?
Yeah.
You have to, reach out to the people. You have to follow up with the people. You have to go and, go that extra step. Figure out who you're going to be talking to. Figure out what their background is, right? And then prepare accordingly. You have to, look up. You don't have to know everything about the position, right? Because you're interviewing them too, right? Yep. Because you don't want to take a position that you don't think you're going to be 100%. Successful in.
It's got to be a right fit for you as well.
Exactly. So, you have to have good questions lined up. You develop those good questions by learning about what you're going to be selling. What does the market look like? Always following up. Asking if they have concerns. You want to address the concerns so that you can sit there and say, well, this is why I think the opposite, right? And close for the follow-up. Because there's so many people that I talk to that say, oh yeah, I got a really good vibe. I think they really liked me. I'm like, well, did you ask for concerns? No, I thought it was going really well. Well, did you close them for the next step? No, but they said, they'll call me in a couple weeks. I'm like, dude, you're never going to hear back.
Yeah, you're not getting
You're not getting the next step. Like, hopefully, nobody's going to be a total, a-hole to you sitting on the other side of the table while they're interviewing you. So they're going to give you the warm and fuzzy, right? They're salespeople. They're going to interact with you, just like they would anybody else. So you might think that you did really well. You don't know because you didn't ask.
Bam.
Right? And two, when you're trying to break in, even if you do have sales experience, you're going to want to focus on the associate positions. You're a one-off. But these associate roles, they're not hiring you because you know clinical knowledge.
Yes.
They're not going to hire you because you did a couple sawbones and you know how to do a total knee arthroplasty. Mm-hmm. Because guess what the first thing you're going to do after you get hired?
Learn it.
You're going to go to training, and they're going to teach you how they want to teach you. You're going to learn their products, right? They're going to mold you into, that company type rep.
100%.
So your clinical knowledge doesn't really mean anything. Yep. Maybe if you want to be a clinical specialist and it's not really a sales role, you're
you just
more
want
of
to
a
be in there.
support. Yep. Totally makes sense. But they're making a hiring decision off of you. Now I think they've condensed the process because of COVID, so you can't really do ride-alongs or anything.
Yeah.
So it's even a shorter amount of time that they're trying to make a hiring decision on you. Is this person the person that we want to bring on board? They're going to be looking at who you are as a person, gauging you based off of how you interview, how you close, just showing these little things, these little steps that are the baseline of success once you get into the industry. Mm-hmm. That's what they're looking for. Yep. You have to bring your personality out, because if you're dull and boring, they don't want to work with you, right? So, let your guard down a little bit, show who you really are. And that's what they're going to hire you on, not because you have, some very small experience.
Well, first off, those are the gold nuggets. If you do what she just said, I promise you'll get a job. And you take that advice seriously and you do everything she just said, promise you'll get interviews. Yeah. That by far, you'll at least get interviews. But that's the big thing I'm hearing right now with a lot of people reaching out to me. They're wanting to go get all these trainings and do all these things. And I'm like, as an associate, all they're worried about, you're reliable, you're a hard worker, and you'll do what they need done.
Exactly.
Because your goal as an associate is to really just support the business that they've already created so they can go create more business, right? Yep. And like you said, there's a reason these companies are spending all this money. They're going to train you how they want you trained. So it doesn't really matter where you're going training before there. You're still going to have to go through all the same training and get it done. So I think that's a great point. And then number 2, I just want to touch on, like she said, in the interview, you have to close. That's your job. Like, if you can't close, you're not going to get a sales job, because then everyone's nice to you. And one of the things I've been told the most is, like, with doctors, a lot of doctors are really nice people. They don't like saying no. So guess what? If you got the job and you're talking to them, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, sure, yeah, that sounds great. But if you don't actually close them, they would never actually use your product or get on a trial or whatever you're looking at. So I think that's the thing. The interview process, they're looking at you how you're going to be on the job a lot of times. So I think that's something to just keep in mind. And a little fact I just want to share real quick is I talked to several reps, and this is why the interview process is such a big deal in medical device sales. I heard on multiple occasions, on average, it's about $250,000 that a company is going to spend on onboarding you. So they're making sure when they're choosing the right person that they are definitely the right person who's going to be there, that's going to be reliable, and it's a business that's going to make them money as well, right? So just understanding when you guys are going in that interview, like this is a thing that this company's spending a lot of money that they're gonna if they hire you, so they're not going to take it easy, and you have to give them no reasons why you're not the right person. So Sarah, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah.
It's been amazing.
Of course.
To be honest, this is way better information than I could have ever gave. And I think these people are going to just love it. Again, you guys, if you haven't, I want to just touch where can they find you? Where can they find your guys' business? And just even reach out to you guys and get connected with you.
Yeah, of course. So we're all over LinkedIn. We have the Road to Medical Sales podcast. Yep. We, try to bring people on, not only just, how to break in, but, surgeons, right? Marketing managers, right? We try to give a whole scope.
And President Club winners.
Oh yeah, P Club winners all day.
Successful people that are in the industry and are successful, the top 1% in the industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that it's going to hopefully provide value to you, right? And then also Legacy Now Coaching, legacynowcoaching.com. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram.
Love it. So if you guys, this is the one thing I always say, if you guys are really serious about breaking in, really look at these guys for coaching, because I said, Sarah helped me so much, and I know they've already helped so many other people just get interviews and get jobs and actually landed them. And the thing like we talked about earlier in med reps, if you look at the big scheme of in your career, how much money you would actually make, the investment you're making so small. And to get your foot in the door, and like you said, the network, you're not just buying someone's time to talk to. You're also buying their network, you're buying their experience, there's just so much more that comes with it in that small investment than just, the time.
Exactly.
And that's just, I want you guys to know the value. But Sarah, again, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast with me today. It's been a lot of fun. I know you guys got a lot of value from it. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to hit me up. A lot of you guys have been hitting me up on LinkedIn. I love it. And a lot of them will tell you I'm responding within 3 minutes. I'm on my phone all the time because it's part of the job. So again, reach out. I'm always happy to help anybody I can. Also, you guys can find me on YouTube. If you haven't, please press that like and subscribe button. And then also you guys can find me on Instagram at JM Fitness, because I still do my fitness stuff. And I've had several of you guys do that as well. So absolutely loving it. If you guys would, I would really appreciate if you would stop and give me a 5-star review. I appreciate you guys so much, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.